VYAPT Growth Series calls out for inclusive growth. Journey of our life is full of challenges, but if we do not traverse through harsh situations well, joyfully, then we will avoid all possibilities. Our grit, determination, and strength of our purpose help us win in long run. Robert Frost, in his poem The Road Not Taken, wrote, "Two roads diverged in woods. I took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. All uncertainty leads to clarity, which leads to paths unexplored. In our world, hope is addictive and additive, and our growth series truly instills hope through series of speakers who have gone through various known and unknown paths to contribute to mankind. To inspire millions, today in VYAPT Growth Series, we have with us Mr. Anand Sahay, CEO of Xebia. Anand, with over 2 decades of experience, has been instrumental in his contribution towards technology and its applications to create value. Hi Anand, welcome to VYAPT Growth Series.
Thanks, Pankaj.
Anand, we have our first curiosity with us, which talks about the growth prospects. So what are the growth prospects of IT industry, specifically into developing innovative products, and what are its focus domain?
So, Pankaj, interestingly, IT industry, the name itself has blurred in last 5-6 years. Almost every company is now an IT company. So, for any company to now grow, they have to be an IT company. I mean, you hardly have a choice now. And as a result, the growth of IT industry has almost become that any company which is growing is somehow using technology very powerfully, and understanding of technology is pretty high. So in my view, technology adoption is growing tremendously, and in coming years, you will see very innovative thinking coming in, driven by a lot of these companies. And you saw how companies like Uber or Airbnb completely changed a whole segment of industry. So you should expect to see this industry growth tremendous. And then you have all these IT services and product companies, beyond the businesses, which are the ones who are sort of helping industries to understand that how certain new technology which are coming in can differentiate them. And that's where I think the job of IT services companies are coming into play. And with COVID coming in, I think the need for IT companies by even those traditional firms who always thought that they can still work with brick and mortar and others, I think you will see more and more need of technology. And I feel IT industry is going to have a serious growth in coming 2-3 years, and owing to COVID itself. Okay, that's how I see it.
Very optimistic, and your views are very optimistic for us to look at IT industry in the next 2 to 3 years. But let's talk something more in shorter terms. Okay, so how do you see the market trends moving in, say, Q2, and we are already in Q2, so Q2 and Q3 of the current financial year? And do you see major reforms happening in this industry for seamless?
Yeah, so let me answer the first part. So, March mid is when the lockdown happened, and this is the time when in most of the country, people came to know that something is happening. The first 2 months of quarter one, you are talking about Indian financial, April, May, June. So we basically start in January. So I would say towards the end of quarter one, FY, saw suddenly people industries realizing that, COVID is going to stay, and we have to find new ways to do business. And I saw that in June, suddenly everybody was ready that, okay, we need to do something. Quarter two is going to be very, very good in my view, as compared to quarter one, right? It may not go back to old levels, but quarter two should be much better. We are already seeing it. A lot of agile companies have already set aside the budget. They turned over the budget from those traditional work which they wanted to do to all technology. So we are already getting calls that, we are increasing this budget, but everything has to be done by September. So I think quarter two, towards the end of quarter two, will become better. Quarter three should be very, very, it could even beat quarter one, in my view. So I'm very optimistic and not only optimistic, we are actually planning ourselves accordingly. You'll be surprised the amount of hiring which we are doing already at this moment of time, almost reaching the levels of March.
Okay. Pre-COVID conditions.
So, yeah, almost to the pre-COVID conditions. You had a second part to this.
Yeah, so the second part was, how do you see the major reforms happening in this industry for seamless growth?
So, this reforms, there are multiple aspects to it. The first I see it is, suddenly 80-90% of your employees suddenly getting work from home, right? It brought unique kind of problems. One, when we told employees to say, yes, you are going to work from home, we will pay for your workplace, we are going to pay for your internet. Then came the confusion from the finance department that, is it perquisite tax or not? Will the employee be taxed or so there are some confusion around that. That's number one. But then if you go beyond it, then when people are working from home as a technology enabler company, then the problem is data privacy. And I think that is one area where I'm also very involved, is what are the clear rules of data privacy? What happens if there is a sitting and has access to health records, right? And I'm talking Indian customers, forget about international where the rules are much clearer. Right? How do you manage security of the laptop on which the guy is working, right? What softwares are required to monitor it? Can I monitor him? So there are quite a lot, these gray areas which are beginning to show up. And I think that is where some industry reform has to come, so that we feel as a company secured, employee feels secured in what he is doing, that certainly he shouldn't be questioned about, a particular, especially financial data and health record data. So that's one. Then there is the larger item, which is about, the cloud has been adopted in industry, is one of the core things. Now, and especially the world order today, how do I have to suggest our customers about, use a cloud, which is fundamental today, to do anything. But your data should reside in your region or not. Should we start consulting that way? Because remember, the whole paradigm of cloud was you don't have to worry where it is residing, where data is. Now with this current environment, we begin to get worried about that part of our consulting architectures to talk about these things, data storage, others. I think those are other areas which will begin to show up on the reform side, or it will bring some controls or regulation around that. That's what I am anticipating.
Okay, so a lot of things I think which is going to be changed. You talked about there is existence of some kind of confusion as of now, but as we proceed further, the confusion might evade. So my third curiosity also comes from the second curiosity itself. You talked about work from home. As more and more people are opting from work from home, which is justified looking at the current pandemic, how would you ensure that the culture, values, and more specifically mental health conditions are right for people to flourish?
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest challenge. Pankaj, we closed down our offices 1 week before the lockdown. And one of the value of the company is employee first in our company. So security of the employee came even before the lockdown came, because we were also monitoring this whole situation of health. stopped travel. I also came pretty much in the early March when I was also traveling. Uh, but once employees went home, that's where we sat and said, okay, what do we need to do? First thing is employee must be secured. So making sure that our health insurances cover anybody getting sick due to COVID. So very early, I think it was for June itself, when we made the decision, we make sure that COVID as a problem is covered under health insurance so that nobody has a worry, right? Including their parents, whatever we had to do. Once the employee is secured, then comes the engagement part, right? How do you get your, all of us work around a new model called Agile software development, right? Which is all about so what tools to use so that we give the same feeling of co-location and the value which comes because of co-location. So we worked upon these products, right? Luckily we all worked through a product called Microsoft Teams. So we were anyway integrated around the world. But then how to create that culture of working together when we are only seeing it, right? So that came into picture. Communication, there was so much of confusion. Then came the communication. I did a virtual town hall, again, a new thing. Right? You don't do a virtual. Then came about that, how do we know about what are the pressures employees might be facing while working from home? So we brought that. So a lot of communication started happening. Then we realized we need to engage. Now we can't do birthday parties and we can't do so many things. So then, we started doing a lot of these functions, right? A bingo game to dumb charade happening on video with people all across the world coming on the call, right? So all different innovations started happening at scale, which I was very pleased with. But then communication, some of these functions done in a virtual way. Kids Day, where all kids were taught how to do mobile programming, right, on virtual. Get parents some relief from the kids. That was another big problem. Both the parents are working, both are on video and all the time. How do you engage with kids? So a lot of these things, we brought into the whole aspect. Only toward June mid, we started hearing a new concept of that people might be burning out, something which we had not thought, and realization that in work from home, the start of the day and the end of the day is sort of not happening. So people start and people don't know when to end, right? Including me. So how to bring new concepts, how to bring new concepts. So we started working on that. So first what we did was, whoever we were finding are the ones who are little going down on performance or are little dazed. We got a psychologist to talk to them. We got motivational speakers, right, to come talk to the whole company, again on virtual, that these things happen, these are disruptions, let's take advantage, right? So we brought some of those part to get people enthused. And then, now we are thinking of bringing concepts like silent hours. You bring a very fixed lunch time, maybe 12:30, 2 p.m. People are on lunch, no meetings, right? Maybe 6:30 to 8 p.m. private time, no meetings. We are in the process of thinking and bringing some of these ideas, because otherwise, problems is real. I mean, a lot of people don't understand, and I think for me also, it has been a sort of a new thing that problems happen to different people who especially are not living with families and have, and this is something which we need to take care of. So these are the things we are doing on the mental side.
Okay. So I think you're really very concerned about the mental health conditions, and not only about that, but general people conditions working from home. And I think a lot of initiatives what you have taken really very good. One of the things what you talk about, silent hours, I mean, that's a new thing. I'm sure people, those who will be watching us, will take something from our discussion and probably would try to implement. And why silent hours only for the IT industry? It has to be implemented even in other industries as well. Many people are working from home in other industries, so they should also take advantage of sharing on this kind of platform. And that and all this platform is all about sharing the best practices to the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Fair enough. So we have our fourth curiosity, which is a little more personal in nature. uh, can you share something from your journey from a software engineer to a CEO? What were the non-negotiators and where were you flexible?
Well, that's an interesting question. Uh, you know, growing up, and I come from a reasonably privileged family. Uh, you know, I I started my career with TCS. A company which was, I think, the only company at that time on the
Mm-hmm.
technology side.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, when it comes to hard work, I think that's a non-negotiator. You know, you can be of different IQ levels, but then when it comes to hard work, very intense way of working, I think it's a non-negotiator. I want to see in almost everyone. You know, that's one area. And then second is, I think, risk taking. I think almost everybody, especially the younger one, if they are not thinking of taking some risk, then there is some problem. This standard way of living is not going to take you anywhere. And I know, Pankaj, you took it, right? So, I think hard work, intense hard work, and early on in your career, very hard. I am talking about unlimited number of hours of work is what I mean by hard work. And risk, not settling with this, oh, I am now this, I am now branded as this. So I personally took a lot of risk. I started as a programmer. Very quickly I realized that I need to do more. And there are a lot of guys out there who would relate with me, that sometimes you don't know, that this is not something which is my passion, but hey, I really don't know where is my passion. The only way at that time is to random walk, and I did that. I random walked. So I being an engineer, software engineering. Then I said, okay, let me manage, and I was good in my job, so I used to get that opportunity also. I was hardworking. So I said, no, let's do more management. Then I went to US. Became one of my seniors said, you are good in explaining, so you should do some customer interaction. Then I said, customer interaction. So I was changing roles very quickly, very quickly. And then finally I did my MBA out there, and then I went into sales.
Okay.
And I remember people telling me, you are a good engineer, what the hell is going on with you? But I again, not saying that I was like, I knew that I will love sales or not, but I random walked very quickly early on. So taking risk and working hard on it is two non-negotiators for me. When it comes to things where you are relaxed a bit, I was very relaxed. Somebody told me, why don't you go to that location and work? Why don't you do this job also? Or okay, we can't pay you that much. I was very flexible. I think for me, it was more important that I'm liking my job and experimenting with it. And rather than taking every role or extra load as, oh, why this is coming to me? I may not like it. Or, oh, am I paid for it? Sometimes I tell my young guys that please don't think of getting paid. So-called, everybody think they are getting less paid. Don't think of that in the beginning at least. Because if you would have done your job well, rest follows. So for me, hard work, take your risk, and please be a little relaxed when it comes to, maybe your colleague is, with 3-year experience is getting more paid. But if you are doing what you're doing right and you are liking it even a bit, don't leave it for that extra 2%, 10%. So I think this has been something which I did. Not that somebody was telling me, naturally occurred to me. And I personally feel a lot of your decision making can get right if you think on these things. And especially do not change things because you're feeling that you're getting early in your career. Just get the roles random walk, get to a way where you are passionate about it. And
Mm-hmm.
finally you find the passion, right? I realize that running a company, growing a company is my passion, right? And I'm loving it, and I'm also getting paid for it, right? So, so that's how I see it.
Okay. So your journey has been interesting, and you talked about some of the things what were the non-negotiators, and you also talked about your adaptability and agility. You moved on into different roles, and you performed it really well. So I think our viewers are also learning from you a lot. You telling them very clearly that you are no different from them. It's only the hard work, your agility, your adaptability, and your curiosity is somewhere helped you to become what you are today. And obviously, Anand, very profound perspectives. You know, very optimistic about the future. Very caring about your people. So these are the certain traits of a leader, which I think you are already showcasing it in your organization. So these were the views of Anand, very optimistic on the market outlook and opportunities it will create in the future. Thank you so much, Anand, for being with us on our growth series.
Thank you, Pankaj.